In our last tech update, we looked at some of the high-level challenges and solutions when it comes to connecting enterprises to public and private cloud. In this tech update, we want to take a little bit more deep dive and discuss hybrid IP networks, as well as the latest buzzword, the latest trend in WAN networking, which is Software Defined WAN, referred to as SDN. I'm Rutger Bevaart, CTO at Custom Connect. Many enterprises are making the transition to public or private cloud infrastructures provided by AWS or Microsoft's Azure, or using SaaS offerings from companies like Salesforce, SAP, or any of the other vendors. Either they already implemented this, or you're implementing this right now, or you have it on your roadmap for the foreseeable future. In our last tech update, we touched on some very high-level ways of approaching the connectivity requirements you might have in connecting to those providers. And there is actually quite a number of solutions that you can leverage to get the best SLA and the best end-user experience. To start with, many companies, when they move to cloud-based offerings or integrate Office 365 within their IT, they rely on the public internet connectivity of the cloud provider to do so. When you access these cloud offerings from your branch office or your main office, or you integrate from your data center, you typically use the internet access that's available within the office. That might not always provide you with the best SLA, best latency, or best path. Especially in remote locations, when you go to South America, you go to Africa, you go to Asia, connectivity might be very flaky. Connectivity might be impacted by high latency, because these public cloud providers are predominantly available within the very well-developed areas of North America, Europe, and some Asia and South Pacific hub sites. So the basic internet connectivity option you get, and that you can leverage, does provide you with a very low cost, low invest solution. That's not technically very complex to operate and set up. You can expand your corporate security policies by implementing the policies you have in your corporate IT environment within most cloud environments as well, especially if you go into a setup where you use it as a platform as a service. A very solid second option that you can leverage to connect to these cloud providers, or even to the SaaS providers, and improve your connectivity there, is that you start using a centralized data center access method. For critical applications, for example Salesforce, you can rely, as in the first scenario, on the available internet connectivity that you have, for example in your branch office in Mexico or in China. But your connectivity will be impacted by any of the local conditions within that ISP. If you leverage different technologies to get that traffic to a central data center site, you actually control the integration and the connectivity with this cloud provider. So for example, by choosing the right ISP in your data center, you might be able, at a very low, relatively low price point, to increase your SLA and responsiveness of your applications. A very solid third option, we believe, that you can leverage is to get dedicated connectivity between your network and the network of your cloud or SaaS provider. And there's different ways of doing this. You can get express route, you can get different services that are available within the market. The cloud provider assigns you a specific port or ports if you're using a redundant setup in each of the data centers where they have their compute and storage silos and their application silos ready for you. Then it's up to you to get the right connectivity to get to them. And then you need to work through a whole package of technical integration documentation and setups to be able to actually integrate your IT environment with that of the cloud provider. So for example, in a Microsoft Azure scenario, you would need to set up BGP, configure these sessions, exchange security keys that you need to get from your cloud environment to get your sessions up and running. When you have it up and running, you have a very nicely integrated and very predictable solution in place. You can get it dedicated from the cloud providers themselves. AWS has a similar offering, Or alternatively, you can go through one of the data centers that have typical exchange style scenarios where you can connect to an exchange style product that in the backend connects you back to Azure or one of the other cloud providers. Or you can go to a network carrier that has this integrated within their offering. To us as Custom Connect, as a carrier-neutral supplier of managed connectivity solutions, we have the idea that the future is in hybrid IP networks, leveraging high-quality internet as well as private connectivity for your mission-critical applications. And by integrating the cloud offerings into that hybrid IP network, which I'll demonstrate shortly how you can actually get an architecture there that supports that, you get a fully integrated hybrid solution. So our first deployment scenario, let's as an example use Azure and Frankfurt. Azure and Frankfurt provide you with public internet connectivity that you can use to reach your services. So Azure is connected to the internet, to several different ISPs. Now suppose you have your office in China. They want to use your Azure hosted services. There will be a multitude of ISPs, not all of which will be neutral transport networks, connecting you to the Azure service. Now suppose there's congestion somewhere here, because those ISPs might source on price and not on SLA. Your end user experience to your Azure services will be impacted by that behavior. In scenario 2, you could leverage one of your central data centers that has high quality ISP connectivity and use different methods to get to your data center. And then leverage this connectivity back to Azure, which already provides an enhanced user experience on your Azure hosted services. As a third alternative, you might integrate your private network that's connecting to your data center and is connecting to your branch office using one of those services provided by Azure or any of the data centers or network carriers in an express route style. This has the additional benefit of providing you with protection against internet DDoS attacks, such as the attacks we've seen in the recent weeks, which are able to take down parts of the internet structure that make sure you have reachability and connectivity to your Azure services. So I'm not advocating creating an extra internet. I'm advocating using the technology that's already there to limit the impact of these style of attacks on your infrastructure and your cloud-hosted services. As a third, you might leverage a solution, a hybrid network solution, your hybrid IP network, which consists of your internet access, your data centers, and your private network, and integrate this within your Azure environment. And that way, leverage technologies such as SD-WAN, as well as all of the existing stuff already there within your IT infrastructure to create a guaranteed end-to-end SLA. The latest buzzword in networking is SD-WAN, which means Software Defined WAN, not to be confused with SDN, Software Defined Networking, which is predominantly a data center server application thing. SD-WAN, to me, is a collection of many old technologies that we've already had in the networking arena for many years, combined with a new holistic view of your network and traffic flows. As such, it really integrates very well with our vision of hybrid IP networks, because it allows you to leverage all the different elements in the hybrid IP network architecture, your data center network, your MPLS private connectivity, as well as your internet access and your internet offload, to create the best user experience. And it moves away from the paradigm where you are having engineering go into specific boxes and create static policies. It allows you, using modern cloud-based web technology, to push smart policies to the edge of your network and manage the user experience in a whole different way. So I expect to see many, many more smart and fun developments in that area in the near future. That's it for now. If you want to get in touch and discuss these topics further, reach out to me and stay tuned for our next update.